Welcome to Toffee TV. It is my three things from Everton 1, Nottingham Forest 1 at Goodison Park today. The Blues dropping 2 points at home, in my opinion. It was an opportunity to get off the mark with a win, and we needed a late goal to rescue a point. And it's a disappointing result. That's what I feel. That's the way it is right now. First thing I want to talk about is the lack of options in the final third. It still makes me... I still scratch my head when I think of the money we've had at our disposal and our options today with Salomon Rondon or no striker. I honestly cannot believe we've gone through that much money and that's what we're left with. It's crazy. It's crazy. I know Dom's injured. You can say it's bad luck. Yeah, maybe it is. But there's no other option. And that is crazy for me. We've ended the game without a striker up front. We didn't bring Dele on because I imagine they didn't want to scupper any move to Besiktas for him. And it's left us short in a game where we really need the 3 points. We've got three very tough games coming up now. Brentford away, Leeds away, Liverpool at home. You know, and there's an opportunity. You know, would anybody really say it's, without saying you're being too negative, would it be a massive shock if Everton had 1 point after the next three games and therefore would have played 6 games and had 1 point? I don't think it'd be a massive shock. I'm not saying that will happen. I think Everton are more than capable of getting the result at Brentford and at Leeds. Liverpool at home in a derby match with the crowd is obviously, we can influence that, and hopefully the players will be and will be up for it. We know they will. But we've put ourselves in a position where we've had 2 narrow defeats and we've had a draw. And in all 3 of those games, we've had opportunities where with a proper striker, a mobile or a better striker, we'd have got a result. I feel we'd have scored goals in. Other teams have got 3 or 4 options in the final third. Teams who are mid-table have it. And we don't. You know, we might have fast players like Anthony Gordon or Damari Gray, and they may chip in with 5 or 6 goals a season. They might. But is that enough? Midfield too don't score goals. They just don't. You know, we had Alex Iwobi, who I think, well, talk about him in a bit, but he was brilliant again today, but doesn't score goals. Never looks like he's going to score a goal. Tom Davis, the odd goal this season, maybe. Onana's new to the country, so we've no idea whether he'll get goals, but historically, he doesn't get a lot of goals. Decore maybe gets 4 or 5. Alan's not scored a goal since he's been here. So it's not like the team is blessed with lots of goals. And if anything's going to put Everton in trouble, it will be that. And therefore the money or the impetus has to be now, the focus has to be on bringing 2 players in at least in those forward areas who can get goals. Got to be. It's got to be. I've said it before, structurally, I think we look fine. I think we look like a better side this season, but we've got nothing in the final third, and that is arguably, that's where it all that matters really, isn't it? I think we look much better defensively. I think sometimes we get caught in transition because we haven't got a target to hit, or we haven't got a runner that we can play through, and we hesitate, and then the ball gets nicked off us. So it's really frustrating. It's something the club has to address very quickly. And we've got 12 days, that's it, and then it shuts. And if it was to shut today, I would be worried whether we'd have enough in us to stay up, or to certainly be in a position where we strengthen when the next market opens, because there's just no goals in this team, and 3 games have proved it. We've scored 2 goals in 3 games. 1 was an own goal. We've got 1 in the 90th, 89th minute today. Needs addressing. Second thing I want to talk about is Alex Iwobi. I think he needs talking about. I think he was fantastic for me today, man of the match. I think he started the season really well. Playing in that central midfield, he's everywhere. And I'd like Everton to, if we're going to stick with 5 at the back, 3 at the back, 5 at the back, whatever you want to call it, if that's how we're going to play, and there's every indication it is, then I think we forget the 2 midfielders and 3 front men, or 3 wide, or whatever it is. It's not working, whatever it is. It's not like our wide players fly down the wing and whip cross after cross, get in and have loads of... It's just not working. So I would have 3 midfield. If it was me, I think if we're going to get the most out of Onana, we're going to have to give him a little bit of protection. And I think that comes by having 2 players in that midfield with him. And then I would have, like, if it had been today, I would have had maybe Damari Gray off Salomon Rondon or Anthony Gordon off Salomon Rondon. And then whichever one wasn't in the team would have come on after with maybe half an hour to go and used the pace that way. We don't know whether Anthony Gordon's going to stay. I'll come on to that in a minute. But that's how I would go and have 3 midfield players, because I think what you want to try and do is you want to try and free up your 2 midfield players to break into the box, and Onana will do that. It all comes down to personnel, of course. It does. If Everton, if the Ghana move come back, back to the table, and he was going to play in the 6, then you'd have him sitting and he'd look after that, and you'd want Iwobi and you'd want Onana to be breaking into the penalty area as well, giving you more bodies. I just think with the way we play, 2 in midfield, it's asking a lot. I think we have 3 up front, 3 supposedly in the final third, but like you say, they never link up really. We don't get balls flashing across the box for people to get on the end of. So I would have a little bit of a change in midfield. But I think Iwobi has been fantastic. And I think if he was in there with 2 other players, I think you'd see him getting into the box more and hopefully then weighing in with goals. But it's the work he puts in. He's trying to get us going with little passes. I just thought he was brilliant today. And, he hasn't had a great time since he come to Everton. Of course he hasn't. But certainly since Frank Lampard's been involved at Everton and coming, and he's got Iwobi into the side. I think the Newcastle game last season was a huge turning point for him. He scored an important goal in that. I think since he's been involved like that, and I think he's just got better and better. And he can play anywhere now, but he's I think in midfield, I think he's fantastic, and he's been brilliant today and was my man of the match. Yeah. And then the third thing is what to do with Anthony Gordon, really. I think he started the game so well today. The opening 20 minutes, I thought he looked lively. He'd had a couple of shots. He looked like he was on it. He was a threat. And when he got the ball, you thought drive at people. And then he went and got himself booked with, for me, it was a ridiculous booking, as in a ridiculous challenge. There was the lad was away. There was only one outcome. So why didn't he just use his brain and just carry on sprinting? He's fast. We know he can run a good distance at a good top level pace. I think he'd have caught their player. He should have just ran with the lad. He threw a challenge in, got himself booked, and then knew he couldn't put the same kind of work rate in off the ball in case he clipped one of them in the effort. When it was Andre Mariner who couldn't have waited to send him off. So for me, he is frustrating, Anthony Gordon. I think he's got a lot of talent. There's obviously all the talk about his career, as in, what does he do next? Does he stay at Everton? Does he move to Chelsea? Chelsea want him. There's links to Manchester City. There's links to Manchester United, Newcastle. What do we do with Anthony Gordon? If Everton, do we sell him and take the money? Will he ever, if Everton got an offer for 50 million, would he ever be worth more than 50 million pound? That is the question, isn't it? If he's never going to be worth more than 50 million pounds to Everton, in his career, then why wouldn't Everton take the money and reinvest that 50 million going back into the side? Would give Everton a lot of freedom to spend, and they could probably really reshape some of this team and maybe get goals in it. I don't know. I don't know. I just look at that team and think we need goals from somewhere, and I don't know whether loans are going to cut it. We'll have to wait and see. And obviously Anthony Gordon, we might want to stay. My only thing with Gordon is normally when there's this kind of interest and they go back and forth and bids come in, normally the team stays at the table because the player is interested in making the move. Now he might look and go, well, I'm 21. It's a Champions League club. I can go and get experience and play with better players and play in the Champions League and develop. And that might be of interest to him. Of course, all players want to play in the top competitions. He might turn around and say, I've got no interest. But normally when a player has no interest in leaving, the club doesn't come back after the initial bid. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. I've got no clue which way it'll go. It'll be a very interesting one if Chelsea do come back with 50 million. I think it'll give the club a big decision to make. Because quite clearly they haven't got the pot of money they've needed to get the forward players they want in at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. I've no clue what to do. I mean, what would you do? That's the big thing. What would you do with Anthony Gordon? Would you keep him? Or would you sell and say, well, we're going to reinvest that money into forward players with goals and try to restructure the team? It's a tough one because you never want to lose good players and you never really want to sell young players when you're trying to create a young side. It's a tough one. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you later.